Hello everyone, I'm Heather, and today is the first day of Halfoweenathon. So I've been just sort of like lazing in bed early this Saturday morning, listening to Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which is the first book that I'm gonna do for that. And it is so good. So good. Holy crap. Like, I'm only on, like, I'm in the middle of chapter 3, but, like, I'm already gripped. So the idea is that this girl was raised by her Uncle Ira, and she comes to her friend, who is a doctor, not a psychiatrist, just a doctor. She says, my Uncle Ira, like, there's something up with him. It's not him. And he's like, what do you mean it's not him? And she's like, it's just not him. I have to come and see. Like, you know him. Like, come meet him and talk to him. Like, it's not him. So, like, he comes and he sees Uncle Ira, and everything about Uncle Ira is the same. Like, he says the same stuff, looks the same, like, all his memories are the same or whatever. And he's telling the girl, he's like, I think there's something wrong with you, you know, you need to see a psychiatrist because that's definitely him. And she's like, it's not him. And he's like, I don't understand what the problem is. Like, he's getting angry. He's like, all of his memories are the same, everything about him is the same. She's like, yeah, but, like, the feeling is gone. So yeah, all the memories are there, but the feeling from him, like his emotions and everything, they're gone, they're dead. And he's like, wouldn't your aunt know or whatever? And she's like, she's not my aunt either. I'm gripped. It's really good. I can't believe I've been sleeping on this book so long. Like, I hope it stays good. Like tonight, my husband is going out, so my kid and I are going to watch the 1978 version of this movie, like for Halfoweenathon. That's what you do for this prompt. It's like a book and a movie. So hopefully I'll be able to get through all of this audiobook for today. Like, it's not very long. It's like a novella. So hopefully I'll be able to get to the end of it before we watch the movie. Anyway.
Hey, Mom!
We're on our way now to get Nero for some foods. And apparently there's some sort of mass delusion happening in the town in the book. Everyone thinks that they know someone who's not themselves, and they're weirdly someone else or something. Now they're, you know, talking about this amazing case of how did so many people have such the same delusion? Ah, so strange.
Melina, glass agua. Here I am with her. I can't make one of those. They look yummy. Yummy. Everything in the whole jar looks yummy.
Come here.
4 o'clock.
Is that cute?
So good.
We went a bit crazy with bath bombs at Lush. We get 4 bath bombs. We got 4 bath bombs and a bubble bar. Don't know what that is.
And birds we brought.
Okay. We got a massive jar of candy because Debenhams is going under. So that was supposed to be really expensive for Christmas, but now they're just selling all that shit like cut price. So we got a bit crazy. Oh, also we got a swimsuit. We got mermaid swimsuit because the pools are opening on the 3rd of May. And we've probably grown out of that since lockdown. Oh my god. But it's so lush, like lockdown being over. I am so excited. Like, I needed this day. Like, town is bouncing, everything's open, spending all my money. This burrito's amazing. Life is good. OMG, things are heating up, right? Like, I know, like, I don't want to give spoilers now, but I feel like I can still keep going, and we're still, like, early enough in the book. Like, we're about maybe halfway through-ish? No, maybe a third of the way. feel like I can still say this, you know, without giving too much away, since we know basically the plot anyway. Everyone already knows. But so this guy, he's in his basement. Like, it's not the main guy, it's a friend of the main guy. He's just randomly in his basement and he sees this like dead guy and he's like shocked to death and he's like, oh my god, and he calls his doctor friend over. But like as his doctor friend is getting there, he's like looking at it and he's like, there's something off about this body. And the doctor friend gets there and he's like, I'm not gonna like tell you my theory about this body because I want you to look at it. I don't want you to be influenced by my thoughts. If you come to the same conclusion as me, then we're not crazy, you know? So he's looking it over and he's like, yeah, there is something weird about it. Like, it looks exactly like a dead body would do, except that it looks weirdly unused. It looks like, he said, how bodies used to look when they came from like a sanatorium or something. Like, they'd been locked up their whole lives, so they'd never, you know, fallen down the stairs, fallen on concrete, you know, fallen off their bikes, got stuck in a tree. Like, there were no like nicks and scratches and scars and things that you would normally see on a body that's lived a life. And he's like, it looks like a brand new body, like completely unused. Like it's got good build, you know, it's muscular, it's like healthy and everything, but it's just like blank, like a blank copy of something. So this guy's like, okay, we'll have to do an experiment. Like, you go to sleep, and your wife, she'll stay up the whole night and she'll just watch this like dead guy. And if he changes at all in the night, come to my house and let me know. And so, like, as the guy's sleeping, the wife melts down. She's like, it has changed. It's become more like the guy. So, like, as the people sleep, the, like, copies of them become more like them in their sleep in order to, like, eventually take them over. Oh my god, but now he's got a problem now because they didn't know this before he sent his girlfriend home. Her girlfriend's like, my dad's been acting weird, like he's not himself, and then she's just gone home. And now he's like, holy shit, I gotta go save her. So he's like running hell for leather to her house now. This book is good.
Like a tan suit. I thought he was naked.
What? Oh my god! Mommy! Roni pizza. Like a little roni pizza. Come on.
Okay, so we're like kicking off our girls' night with our pita pizzas. We're gonna watch our movie in a sec. I was hoping to finish the book before we started the movie, and I still got a bit of time because our pita pizzas still have to cook and everything. But I'm really close to the end, just not quite there. Now we've got our guys. They're like the last ones in the town left. That aren't like taken over, you know, like every other person in the city they can now see has been taken over by like this pod thing from space. And they're talking to the pod guys now, you know, like the people that are like taken over. They're like, you can understand, you know, why it needs to be like this, you know, why the pods need to take over. It's like an evolutionary thing. Like, they've come and now they need to survive. Like, they have this will to survive, and it's like really creeping me out. But that's where we are at the minute, and I don't know what's going to happen to them now, because even their friends, you know, who were like with them in the last sort of like people not being zombified or like taken over, they're now taken over too. OMG, I finished the book and it was so good. I loved the ending. That was a good novella. Anyway, now the Spud and I are gonna watch the movie. We're gonna get snacks, get some Crispies. Crispies? Yeah! And I'm gonna have a bit of vodka, potentially. And we are gonna watch the movie now. I like his mustache here. How do you feel?
No.
You don't like it? It's a very 70s sort of mustache. I think he's an alien.
Why do you think that?
Well, because he's like weird now.
Okay, now I think it is.
There's creepy music, babes. Whenever there's creepy music, he's an alien. person.
Someone's eating that.
It looks like a poo.
Oh, it looks like someone ate the brain.
Oh.
It's making ew.
Oh.
Oh,
Ew.
ew! It's a brain inside him.
It's like a flesh flower. It's like sucking his brains.
The sound's getting dead. And the sound looks like it's getting dead.
Yeah. Ew, it looks like a worm pooping.
Ew.
Ew!
Ew.
Ew!
Are you?
It's like a gross baby.
Ew!
Ew!
It's a baby.
Hey, look, it's moving.
Look. Wait, no.
He's gonna wake up sometime. Oh, they're angry that he killed one of the pods.
Why?
Well, they're like pod people, and they're upset now that he's killed one of them.
Is that his wife? But she's a pawn now.
I think all the 4 main people aren't pods yet, but now they're being chased by all the pods because they're pissed off at them. We have just finished the movie, and holy crap, the ending of the movie is way different from the ending of the book. Like, no spoilers or anything, but the ending of the book is, like, quite a happy ending, actually. Like, you know, not hugely happy, but, you know, is rewarding. You know, it's not terrible. The ending of the movie, however... Okay, it's Sunday. I've been up for a bit. I've been reading my friend Dahmer, this graphic novel. It's to do with the prompt. A book with a monster, because he's a serial killer. Like, this book is just basically about this guy who knew him in school when he was a kid. And it's pretty good so far. I like the art in it. You know, like it's got... It's like laid out well. So far in it, all that's happened is we found out that Dahmer lives in like a rural area in Ohio. And he stole a fetal pig in a jar from the school, and he's gonna mess with it. And like, no one really likes him. But, like, he's like a kid that doesn't really have any friends. He's like sort of a weirdo kid. I guess eventually he does have friends, because he's said that in interviews and stuff. Like, he didn't really have any friends after high school, but like in high school he did. Okay, I'm really liking this book. Like, this bit, listen to this. Like, this is about Dahmer's mother. Joyce was a housewife who was chafing in that role like many moms in the early 70s. She was always pleasant to me, but she was odd, very moody and fragile. It was obvious she was lugging around some heavy baggage, but there were lots of damaged moms in town. Okay, we are going to go on a picnic to the beach, so we're going to make our little sandwiches. We didn't have any bread, we only have bagels, so everyone's having a bagel picnic. Got the next one? Drop it in, babes. Patso. So, James' one is a hummus, cucumber, and onion bagel. Mine is cucumber, onion, and corn slices, because I'm that kind of girl. I'm that kind of way.
Gwela I yn llygu bach fi rhywbeth o liw melyn.
Here's another really good bit here. Like, Jeff Dahmer, like, pulled a scheme where he, like, convinced people at the White House or the Vice President's office that they were, like, star students or something. So anyway, a short time later, Jeff Dahmer, future serial killer, stood a few feet away from the Vice President of the United States. When I think of this bizarre event and about the kid who had the brains, charm, and chutzpah to pull it off, what comes to my mind is, what a waste. Dahmer always carried a briefcase. Hey, nice purse, Dahmer. A briefcase was not part of the teenage uniform in the 70s. Not even the nerdiest of kids would dare lug one around. It was, of course, how he snuck his booze into school. I'm loving this book. I think it's really good. Yeah, you just put it in.
You can't.
Yeah, I think so.
I want to hold it.
No, just drop it in.
Ooh.
Of the purplest bath I've ever seen.
Okay, I finished My Friend Dahmer. That's my second one for Halfoween, and I really liked it. It was really good. It was like a really quick read as well. Like I easily read this in this day. And I really liked how he sort of portrayed his relationship and sort of described Dahmer. It was really like honest and quite sort of empathetic, you know, and trying to be quite objective about it while also sort of like, you know, fully describing the emotions and sort of like having accountability for his part and everything. Like he describes, like, so at the end he sort of says, okay, yeah, he's a monster and he's murdered loads of people, and I'm not saying that's good, but he's also sort of describing how all of the adults in his life around him let him down, and also let down all of his victims by sort of allowing him to become this monster. Like the teachers and his parents and everyone, they let him down. And he's also saying, sort of at a lesser part as well, because they were kids and like what were they supposed to do, but his friends as well. So this guy who wrote the book, he's also saying we also dropped him, you know, when we felt like he was really weird and getting sort of scary, we didn't go to anyone, we just dropped him, you know, and that also probably contributed to like his isolation, which then allowed his like insanity to bubble up into action. But while it's like a really empathetic sort of description of him throughout the book, he does say at the end, which I thought was like intense. The premise of this book is that Dahmer was a tragic figure, but that only applies up until the moment he kills. After that horrible day in June 1978, the day he first killed someone, the only tragedy is that Dahmer didn't have the courage to put a gun to his head and end it. More than anything, Dahmer was a coward. He was afraid to confess to his dad, the one adult who tried to help him over the years, about what was going on in his head, terrified of being caught. Dahmer was also driven by selfishness and didn't care about anything other than his own obsessive needs. His perverse sexuality was constructed entirely of dominance and total control. His love for sexual desires never entered into it. They weren't even real people in his mind, merely objects for his sexual pleasure. Cowardice and selfishness, these were the two themes of Jeff Dahmer's life. We can excuse those things perhaps in a 15-year-old kid, but these were central parts of the adult Dahmer as well. And because of this fear and selfishness, sexual hunger, this perverse wretch spread his misery to the dozens of people who still mourn the loss of his 17 victims. Anyway, this was good. Okay, it's Monday now, and today's book project is P. Djeli Clark's Ring Shout. I'm up early in the morning to go to work and stuff, so I'm not sure how much reading time I will get today. But I will try really hard to finish this book, or at least get a really good start on it. It's for the prompt to do with a horror book by a BIPOC author, and it's roughly like a fantasy horror book about the KKK. So I'm excited about that. Okay, so this book is really good so far. It's giving me like a Hunters vibe. Do you know that show? It's like on Netflix or Amazon Prime or something. It's got Al Pacino, and it's like that like hunting team that chases down Nazis in America, like after the war, after they're like hiding and pretending like they're not Nazis anymore. It's sort of like giving me that sort of vibe, because it's like a team of hunters, and it's like a sort of, I don't know, like a sort of Quentin Tarantino vibe, you know, like everyone's like, I don't know, like some of them are really intense and they've got like backstories of like, oh, this is where he learned to make bombs, you know, and so learned how to, you know, hunt with their grandpa in the woods and blah blah. Like it's just sort of giving me that vibe where like each person has a specific skill, and it's like an over the top, like really good sort of skill. They're the best at it, and they learned it in, you know, not a normal sort of place. And everyone's sort of like over the top extreme and like caricatured. I don't know. Anyway, I love things like that. I loved that show, Hunters. And so this, instead of being Nazi hunters, is they're KKK hunters, but not just like people KKK. I mean, they're bad enough, but they're actually chasing like monsters KKK. Like they're, so in like one of the opening scenes, it's these 3 KKK guys who just look like KKK guys until they like disjoint their arms and legs and stuff and like start looking like dog-like, and they sort of get down on all fours and they like have like crazy look, and they start eating this like dead dog in the alley, and they put the dead dog there and they're like looking at them from a rooftop. And what they did is they'd packed the dead dog with like explosives and stuff. So they shoot the dog, then the dead dog, and explodes, and it like gets these KKK monster things. But they think that they've killed them, but then they're not dead, and they like start to do like crazy stuff, like they're coming back to life or whatever. Anyway, I dig it. I think it's super good so far. Right now, the pubs, like outdoor versions, outdoor like dining and pubs and everything, have opened today in Wales. So my husband and I have booked ourselves a lunchtime slot. We're now going to go to the pub for the first time since December. It's sunny outside, like it's a bit windy, it's going to be freezing cold, but it's Wales, we're hardy, let's go. Okay, so I'd say I'm like roughly halfway-ish through the book now-ish. And I think I might be able to finish it by tonight, but I'm not 100% sure. But it's really good, I'm really liking it. So now we've met this like old lady, and she's the one that recruited everyone to the team. And she's the sort of like the leader, or the person in charge, even though she's super old. And she speaks the Gullah language. Like, does anyone, like, I don't know, this is probably like trivializing it, but does anyone who's roughly my age remember in the 90s on Nickelodeon a show called Gullah Gullah Island with like a dude in a pollywog suit and like who used to like bounce around and say binya binya, and like this family with like all these kids, and it's like mom and dad living on this island, and it was like Gullah Island, and they like spoke Gullah, or like they said Gullah language words or whatever. Anyway, I digress. But she's a really good character, and she has like, she says things in the Gullah language, like a sort of like Creole type language in the South, like I guess like South Carolina, Georgia, like places like that. Anyway, so now they've said loads of like interesting stuff about how they think these Ku Kluxes, like these KKK monster people, are made. And they think it's just like due to all of the hate, like the hate like breeds it in them to turn them into monsters. And as a group, the old lady has set out that they're not allowed to kill like bands of people who are part of the KKK group, but are still human. They're not allowed to kill them, even though they know eventually they'll sort of turn into these monsters, because that's what the hate does to them. It's good. I'm really liking it. I hope I can finish it for tonight. Okay, I have finished it, and it was good. Like, I really liked, there's like a theme throughout it, like hate, you know? So the hate is what turned the KKK people into like monster type things, but it's also what like powers the main girl in the like monster fighting group. And there's like a thing where she's got to sort of like realize that it's that same thing that powers her, and not to let it make her a monster, you know, like sort of like that kind of theme. So it was good, and it had like a sort of like Quentin Tarantino sort of like shtick to it, you know, like with the sort of bloody fighting, but like a sort of kick-ass pow-pow type fighting. Anyway, I really liked it, so that's good. I am moving on tomorrow to the next book in my Halfoweenathon thing, to In the Miso Soup by Ryu Murakami. I am up really late. I was like desperate. I was like desperate to finish that. So now I definitely need to go to bed. Thank you for watching. If you have any thoughts about anything, please let me know. That would be awesome. If you have any thoughts about the books or the situations or like whatever, let me know. I'm so tired. Okay.